moments.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's two names that I think, and again, obviously, still probably like the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a bridge quarterback. It's not going to be a long-term answer. Jordan Love. Supposedly, they like Jordan Love.
They're going to cut him loose
in the draft process. Well, at this point, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is signed for 4 years. I don't know how many of those are legitimate.
Real
it's probably
years,
at least in terms of I think real money, 2 to 3.
Yeah.
So like by that point, Jordan Love's contract is up. So it's like just flip him. And the one that is a free agent, I would say probably Marcus Mariota, possibly.
Yeah, true. Okay, let's talk about Khalil Mack. You brought him up a little while ago. The Bears are shedding some salary there.
Good for him. I mean, good for him. He doesn't have to be everything to that defense in San Diego. And plus, Justin Herbert will keep that offense on the field for longer than 3 snaps and out, as was happening in Chicago pretty consistently. So it's sort of the Von Miller move with a little bit more upside, I would say. But good for Khalil Mack.
Actually, Lugs, they're the LA Chargers now. No more San Diego.
I got Commanders now. I didn't drop in
Los
that
Comandados.
hated word. So
what do you say about that, T-Dog?
I think it's one of those. I think it's a win-win on some level. It's a win for the Chargers because obviously they get Mack for a 2nd-round pick and a 2023 6th-round pick. When you look at what Mack can be, that seems like it's very light compensation.
Yep.
Because the main thing is he's not only a talented pass rusher, he's a run stuffer, because that was the biggest problem with the Chargers last year is they could not stop anyone from running the ball. So he has that in addition to it. He's already worked with their coach, Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley was with the Bears as an outside linebackers coach in 2018, his best year for the Bears. And he never had a year as good as that 2018 one. I believe Deshaun decided a good job last year, but I think he'll be schemed up better than the Chuck Pagano years. The offense, kind of like what Lug said, is better. So obviously when the offense is better, it'll lead to more rush attempts, opportunities. And on top of it, he'll get one-on-ones because of the presence of Joey Bosa on the other side.
On the other side, the bookends, right?
So Chargers make out well too. The Bears, on the other hand, make out well to a degree in that this year it freed up $6 million in cap space for this year. And they still have to eat $24 million in dead cap. But that being said, in 2023, next year, it frees up $28.5 million in cap space. And mainly with Ryan Poles, it's an indication that it's a rebuilding year. Yep. They're at least being honest by making this move that they don't expect to contend seriously this year. And with that extra money, they're going to try to probably reallocate it to their offense to focus on getting Fields to playing well. And on top of it too, it allows him to, establish his true vision on what he believes the team should be turning around. So.
All right. What about your boy, Amari Cooper? Another big move.
I think it's sad for him in a lot of ways. I mean, let's be honest. If Baker's still there, I don't know that Amari's going to get the kind of passing attack that he's capable of. But they do. I mean, they've got a good team, both sides of the ball. They just, again, it comes down to the quarterback. And maybe Baker in the offseason can heal up enough and deliver this time around.
He's having so many surgeries. He's like going to be the bionic man, isn't he? I mean, they're working on everything. I think arm, shoulder, whatever.
Yeah, they even fixed the engine in his Corvair. So
Corvair.
Anyhow,
thank you, Ralph Nader.
Yeah, but Amari, he's a good replacement for Landry. So,
what do you say about that, Dog?
I think it's, again, like a lot of these moves have similarities where it's on some levels they can be a win-win. Obviously, it's still a hit to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
But Browns needed to replace Odell Beckham. Again, obviously Odell Beckham showed with the Rams. Everyone said he lost what he had. No, he was just in a bad situation with Baker Mayfield. He still could play at a high level. That being said, they still needed a field stretcher, which Amari Cooper can do. And maybe Amari Cooper can gel with Baker. And with them having a field stretcher, that'll open up the run game. Because they needed a true number one. Because again, Jarvis Landry, who they released, he was a fine receiver, and he'll be a fine receiver for whoever he plays on. He is a number two. He's not a number one wide receiver. He can move the chains for you. He can't stretch. He's not gonna work. He's never gonna warrant double teams, particularly at this point in his career. He's not gonna give you a field stretching long plays. He's a good player, but he was never gonna be your star. The main reason the Cowboys did it is they needed to free up cap space because they only got a 6th-round pick for as talented as Amari Cooper is, a true number one wide receiver. But that freed up $20 million in cap space so that they could re-sign Michael Gallup, who a few years ago had numbers very similar to Amari Cooper. So like he's probably still underrated. He's coming off of a severe injury, but obviously it feels like he will make a full recovery. And that just freed up cap space because Cowboys have been shedding just a lot of players. They've shed two, I believe they're probably going to shed 2 starting offensive linemen. They lost Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory re-signed with the Broncos, and that was a quick change at the last minute because actually Cowboys even announced that he had re-signed, and that's the problem with tampering sometimes is that sometimes it flips on you.
Yeah.
So, but they were trying to use that money because they're trying to reallocate it to other areas of the team. It's not that Amari Cooper's not talented, but they drafted CeeDee Lamb 2 years ago, and CeeDee Lamb last year had over 11,000 yards receiving. He clearly has shown that he can be the guy. You can only pay one of these guys. So obviously CeeDee Lamb in 2 years, his contract's going to be up. So you can only really pay a high margin for probably one receiver. And they would go with the younger player in CeeDee Lamb. So I thought it made sense for both sides. And I hope Amari Cooper their best. I do worry about him with Baker because Baker has yet to show that he can consistently find in the NFL a downfield receiver.
Well, we'll hope Baker has a comebacker year. Maybe he will. All right, let's talk a little bit about, Troy Aikman went to ESPN, and now, according to Joe Buck's wife, she tweeted, Joe Buck is signing to do ESPN's Monday Night Football. Lugs, do you even care about this? What do you say about that?
I think both of them have sidelined themselves because Monday Night Football traditionally, even though it's the NFL, doesn't get the ratings that the Fox games would get.
And no Super Bowl either.
No, that's very true. So I'm not so sure. There must have been some bad blood with Aikman to start all of this or something between Aikman and the Fox Sports folks or whatever started it. But I don't think it's a good move for either one of them.
ESPN's
really
shelling out some big money for the two of them. I don't know that the final number hasn't been released, but what happens at Fox? T-Dog, you've got a theory on that.
I think they've groomed. I think they take the B team and they just move it up to the A team. I think that the B team was Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. Mm-hmm. I think not to say some of the other ones below them couldn't be the A team, but it just feels like the way they positioned them in terms of usually the games they usually get the second best game of the weekend in comparison to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman used to get. So it feels like, not to say they can't do something crazy out of left field, but it feels just the way that they've tiered their announcing groups. They're the one that will be elevated to number one.
And that's okay with me. I don't mind listening to those two.
I like Olson. Yeah. Olson in particular. I like him a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of misses on Monday Night Football, he was up for that job when Jason Witten got it. So good God, what a misfire that was.
Jason Witten. Lugs, you want to do a little sports of yesteryear and we'll come back and talk a little bit more?
Oh, sure.
Here we go. It's sports of yesteryear. He's out and about in his Dodge Polara. I think it's a 73 model. And he's got sports of yesteryear. Tell us all about it, Lugs.
All right, here we go. 1869, Cincinnati Red Stockings become the first professional baseball team. 1912, pitcher Cy Young retires from baseball with 511 wins, and his name is on the trophy for the best pitcher of each year. 1953, LPGA title holders championship, women's golf, Augusta. Patty Berg wins her fifth title. 1958, Oscar, the Big O Robertson of the Cincinnati Royals, scores an NBA Midwest region record 56-point game. 1962, Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain is the first to score 4,000 points in an NBA season. And bringing it closer to home here in the final furlong, 2015 at the 56th SEC Men's Basketball Championship Tournament. Kentucky beats Arkansas 78-63. That's it for this edition of Sports of Yesteryear.
Thank you, Lugs. The Big O, man. That was like one of the best nicknames of all time, wasn't it? The Big O, Oscar Robertson. And the Cincinnati Royals, where did they go and why aren't they still there? Come on, we need a team in Cincinnati. What happened?
Yeah, well,
crazy.
Money talks. I guess the Royals became the
Kings?
I was going to say the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know.
I'd have to look that one up. We'll get our crack team on that for next week's
Research.
broadcast. We'll check it. What else is on your mind, fellas? Anything?
I just wanted to say before we get too crazy gone, thanks for the memories to Los Angeles left tackle Andrew Whitworth. He retired after 16 NFL seasons.
He did, huh?
Walks away with a championship ring, so good for him. Thanks for the memories, brother.
He is the most gray-headed looking man on the NFL roster I've ever seen. He looks like he's about 60.
I thought he was a dad of one of the players, honestly.
Yeah, I just want to say,
love it. Go ahead.
He's a guy who maybe only has 2 All-Pros, and I think he went to 4 Pro Bowls. He should be a guy that gets in the Hall of Fame.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
If you really look at probably like how many sacks he gave up in his career, and obviously the unfortunate thing for him was most of his career he played was alongside that of Joe Thomas. So obviously Joe Thomas won All Pros every year. It's not that Andrew Whitworth didn't play at an All Pro level. It's just that they only have so many positions available, and Joe Thomas was constantly eating the top tier All Pro from other guys. So
and my hat goes off to anybody who can play the offensive line till the age of 40. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like Charles Woodson. It's not to say what like Tom Brady has done isn't impressive, or any quarterback maybe making it to like around their 40s. But when you play at the high level that like Charles Woodson did into his late 30s, or Andrew Whitworth playing till the 40s, like I think that's a different level. Or again, going back to Jerry Rice playing at a high level till he's 40. Like that's a different level, I think.
Oh yeah, because every time you're going to take a lick, either defense or offense, especially offensive line. Those guys, oh my goodness, every time. I mean, think about you're lining up against guys that are just teeing off. It's like being Fred Astaire's dance partner. You're doing everything going backwards, essentially.
Maybe his nickname was Ginger Rogers. Anything else? March Madness, but we can hit on that next time. Go ahead, T-Dog.
Yeah, I was just going to say, since free agency started, I was just going to say, to me, the most fascinating thing is obviously you look at what the Jaguars are doing. They're going for broke, trying to make Trevor Lawrence have a good year. They paid Christian Kirk, who was probably, I guess he was the second best receiver on the Cardinals. I'm not going to say he was the third, but he's almost exclusively a slot receiver. This man got like a $70 million contract. Now, I forget how much is fully guaranteed, but it seemed he's never had 1,000-yard season. And I'm not saying hopefully he's able to do that. They also then signed Zay Jones away from the Raiders, who is also a speed merchant. They signed Evan Ingram from the Giants, who is also a very fast, athletic tight end. They got Brandon Sheriff, the top guard in this free agency, that he's getting paid $16 million a year. Like they are going all in and making, Trevor Lawrence a thing. And obviously the Colts have drafted well and whatnot. they have, I think, around 70 million in cap space. They have yet to make one significant move. And I just feel to a degree for Colts fans because
yep,
they